Hello, it's Hannah Bruce here. I'm just setting up a demonstration of stretching canvas, so from the beginning to the end. One of the things I've got is a massive roll of canvas here. This really helps you to make at least 2 metre wide canvases, but at the moment I'm just using the equipment to show you in the video something really compact and using the same materials. So this is medium weight cotton canvas and it's unprimed, and I also wanted to show you how to use an old frame to make a new canvas. Normally you would use stretcher bars and you would slot those together like that, and you would use stretcher bars to make a canvas using like this. I think you can see that okay. So but these, you know, a set of these can be quite expensive. Economical if you do it on a larger scale, but smaller stuff I'm wanting to use up this it's got a dent in it, so basically it's a dead frame. It's got, so I can't use that for anything else. So excusing the aircraft overhead, what have I got? Right, so we take pliers. I'm going to try and take out all of these. They're sturdy because it's a small frame. It will be fine to be stretched with canvas and it shouldn't warp. If you do it with too large a frame, then you might have warping over time and you can't adjust that. But I find these really good, really solid. And it's a great way of using old dud frames actually, especially for students. Right, okay, so I've taken all those out, and then you need to measure up. And you measure up here on the canvas, and you need to be able to wrap it all the way around. So I'll probably do that about 1.5 inches extra all the way around. You could give it a bit more, but the reason why you need to make it quite specific is, you'll see in a minute, when you use a stretcher pliers, if you've got too much fabric, it's really annoying and it's not very easy. Let's just check I'm doing this right. Right, so that's there. A bit further down, then across. Yeah, so medium weight canvas. It's quite rough, this canvas, but if you prime it a few times, then it's good. But it's got tooth on it, so if you really like a bit of tooth, then it's brilliant. Right, okay. So that's cut to measure, and you need to place it in the centre. This corner might be a bit of a problem. It's alright. Be tight on that corner. So I might move it down a bit. Okay, yeah, like that. Right, you take your staple gun, and I just use 6mm deep tacks, but you can use 8mm deep, doesn't really matter. And you start by the top middle, and you just try and line it up nicely, and you do it like that. Then you flip it round, and you always do the opposite. Now I'm going to do this by hand because I don't want it too tight, so by hand tight there. Right, next one. This next one, because you've got one there, can now be pulled either hand tight or a little bit more using these things. Mine haven't got a spring in the middle, so mine are a little bit difficult to use, but I've lost it, so it doesn't really matter. But you grip your canvas at the edge, and you can see if you had too much fabric there, it kind of curls under and it doesn't work properly. And then the idea is you roll it down and get it tight. Use your thumb and staple gun. Twist it round, take that. And this one I've done much firmer because now I've got 1, 2, 3, now I can be firm. There. Right, twist to one side. To inches across, pull with the pliers, clip, flip over, do the opposite side, 2 inches across, pliers, clip. Then this side has only got 1, 2 inches across, pliers, hold it, opposite side, you get the idea. So this side's a bit short on fabric, but as I say, slightly short is better than too much. Right, oh, talking too much, didn't do the opposite. Right, opposite. But once you start to get to the corners, you don't need to worry as much because it should be quite tight. About 3 for this size canvas, 3 or 4 across there. And that's quite tight. Can you hear that? You can just hear it playing. Okay, tight in the middle. Now you need to pay attention to the corners here because you need a good 3 inches from the corners to do a wrap. Now this is how I do it, if you can follow. Okay, so this one in, that down. It's like 2 triangles. That down. Can you see that? Okay, it's not quite close enough. So one side down, this side, like that. It's like a double triangle. You have to get used to doing that, gallery edges. It's tricky. So, and then you want to hold it tight. You want to pull this side down a bit and staple. And then you pull your gallery edge down. Ooh, a bit of a bulge there, don't like that. Do that by hand. And there you have your gallery corner. You see that? And it has a lump on this side. And I like to make my lump, and then opposite edge, lump. So then you need to know how to do this the other way around. So this one, I go like that, go like that, and then that. Now sometimes that will overlap slightly. You just got to make that angle a little bit tighter inside there. Okay. That was that corner with a little bit too less fabric. So you got that and that. Right, so opposite side, need the lump to go in there. So this can be stapled here. Gallery edge. Put it down a bit. That down. So it's tight on the corners. It's very easy to go floppy on the corners. I'm okay because I know what I'm doing. Right. Then okay, gallery edge. That's the gallery edge there. So this can be tightened this side. And the gallery edge there. Oh, that's a bit tight. A few extra staples in there, sort of a little bit tight. Right, take off these excess bits. Okay, so there you've got a stretched cotton canvas over an old frame. The frame had a kind of a dip at, here, so some frames, if they have kind of lumps sticking out, they won't really be suitable unless you're just doing it for as a student, as a piece that doesn't really matter, but not for selling. But this one will look good. Okay, hear that. Now that is quite tight, but what will make it even tighter and like a drum is some sizing. So I've made some size solution here, rabbit skin glue with and I've put in some calcium carbonate or whiting to try and make my own gesso. Now I've put a little bit less whiting in it, so this is going to go on here and have a couple of coats, and then I'll probably put another Alkyd primer on top, because you don't want your oil paint, in this case oil paint, just to sink through into the fabric because it hasn't been sized properly or prepared or gessoed properly. I mean, you can use gesso, but this is probably more long term. If you're doing lots in one go, this is going to be more economical. So the first coat's going to soak in. First coat's going to soak in heaps. Okay. This is still a little bit warm, which is good for what I want. It really works properly then. Like that. Yeah, so 2 coats of this, and then possibly, if I feel like it, depends what I'm going to do with the canvas, I'll use some Fixotropic primer on top of that as well. Now the whiting stuff that I've used here gives it a kind of a tooth. You can use this on MDF and prime MDF, which I've done a few earlier, so I'll show you in a second. That's a bit thick, I need to be careful. Also brush marks, once you've got it on, try and do all your brush marks in the same direction, so it's a nice even directional brush surface. And don't forget to do your edges, because you can lose a lot of paint on the edges if you don't prime it. I mean, kind of size it. Messy stuff. And don't want any bits to go into your priming sizing, because it just stay there, it's glued on forever and it's a bit of a nightmare. So I've got bits of the cotton fabric frayed just coming in, and I need to get rid of those, otherwise you'll never get them off when you realise when you're painting. Right, okay, so check the edges again because I did the sides. Yep, there we go. Right, so that needs to be left to dry. Probably, oh, lovely sunny day today. Probably take out in the garden about, I don't know, half an hour probably. It's about 26 degrees out there today. Right, so I'll bring something back that I've done and show you, and then I'll get a second coat on something else going. Oh, actually I've got one here, it's fine. So here's an example of a piece of board, which I plan to cut down later on to any size that I wanted. But so it's just this is like a very thin MDF. The solution, it is advised to have it 9mm, but these are like 3mm because I plan to go away painting art in the open in Ireland, and I need to have some of these but made up for a flight, so I need to have them thinner, otherwise it'd be really heavy bags. So basically I've done a lovely, this surface just feels lovely for painting on, but it's, you can see all the brush marks. I think you can have a look. Okay, so I need to do a more even coat now. Having dried, I'm going to do another coat, and I'm going to do it to go over and be more even. So I'll slap it on, and then I'll do the brush mark business after. So this has been outside for half an hour, fully dried, and I put the second coat on. Now with the MDF, with this being such a lovely texture, I don't think I'll fix the Tropic Prime with this as well. I'll just do it, maybe 3 coats of this stuff. And once the glue is set hard, that's it. It's really tough stuff, so you don't have to worry. It can make your canvas quite hard, which is going to be good for wax and oil that I've been using lately, but if you like it to have a bit more bounce in your canvas, then probably using just thick Tropic Primer would be better. It's such a nice day. Everybody's out in the plains, it sounds like today. Right. Okay, so that's got a bit in it. Get rid of that. Let's just make sure this is nice and even now. Oh, it's drying out as I speak, as I do it. Jeez. Pick a sunny day, it's a good, you just have to be quick. Right, so that's second coat. Needs a third coat though. Okay. Set that outside. And then I've got these little canvases. So when you've done a painting and it hasn't worked, then just strip, if you've got time, strip the canvas off. You will have all the staples, so you have to staple it in a different place. But and then you can use the stretcher and do one of those. So let me find a scrap of fabric. I got a scrap big enough. Yep, perfect. Too small. Just perfect. So I'll go through the process again just to quickly show you on the little one. So flip it over. And this one you could probably do by hand instead of using a stretcher, because it's so tiny. And then when you've primed it with a gesso, you tend to go harder still. I'll have a big stretch on them. Right, okay, so that's good. Working well. So this one, I can't go too close to it. I've got to do my staples a bit close together. Just pulling it by hand. See how quick I can do this one. Right, do the corners. This side. Oops. Stapled a bit close to the edge. It's difficult to do it when it's stapled so close. Okay. Done. Not as tight as my others, but once I've done this, good. useful to stir your mixture with your, because in here, because it's going a lot thicker now, getting to the bottom of the barrel, so I might use it for different things when it's thicker. Right, thick. Just get it done. Take the excess off, maybe a little bit off the edges. Put it out to dry. Done. Hope that was useful to you. So, equipment you need: staple gun, brush, rabbit skin glue, whiting, scissors, well, some of those pliers if you need them, and your roll of canvas.